Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's no secret that I believe the chin-up is one of the greatest exercises ever invented, that I believe it's an exercise that's all around useful, that most people should be doing it, everyone from athletes, field athletes, strength athletes, contact sport athletes, bodybuilders, power lifters, people who just want to get in shape, people who want functional strength. The chin-up is fantastic. But I had someone ask, kind of new to the channel, first one of my videos they've seen, they asked me, hey, what about people who can't do chin-ups? How do I get stronger on the chin-ups without using one of those assist machines? Because I want to do chin-ups, but I don't want to use that stupid machine at the gym. So let me put on my +5 head of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. This is something I personally went through because you guys know, as I've discussed before, I spent 10 months in bed sick. Really didn't get out of bed. Very, very little. Pretty much laid around for 10 months. Gained a lot of weight. Lost all of my strength, and this was in my early 30s. So I had to come back and build back up, and for me, learning to do a chin-up again, particularly when I was still like 60 pounds overweight and had been in bed, was not easy to do. In fact, doing a chin-up was completely impossible, so I had to figure out on my own with limited equipment and just a cheap chin-up bar from Walmart. And you guys have seen I have a home chin-up bar, and you could do the same stuff with it. You guys saw it in my video the other day. I showed my office and my studio the other day, showing my cardio setup and everything in here. I've got a little chin-up bar stuck in the closet, the storage closet of my office right there through the doorway. It's one of those little cheap $30 ones. You can do this at home with these. If you're embarrassed to not be able to do a chin-up at the gym, you can do this stuff at home. You don't have to use the assist machine, and you can get strong enough to do normal chin-ups. Now there's two ways to do it. The way that I did it originally, you focus on doing the negative, the eccentric portion of the rep. For those not familiar with it, that's the lowering, because you're not strong enough to pull yourself up, but you're strong enough to hold on to a bar and drop down. And at first it might be hard. You won't be able to do a 3 or 4 second way down. You're going to come down relatively quick. But you know what? That builds strength. That builds muscle mass. Eccentric reps can actually make you bigger and stronger. They're not as good as being able to do the up and down, but they do help build muscle tissue, and they do help train the motor pattern for an exercise. And if that's all you can do, then that's what you do. You can do that. Come in and focus on doing a couple of those, 2 or 3 of those at first. Just getting up on a stool or a chair. Find a way to do it safely. Don't jump up and do something that's unsafe. Make sure that you're not going to hurt yourself. That's the most important thing. Get up on a stool or a chair, like I said, and stand up. You can even have the chair behind you a little bit so that you can get forward and step off of it a bit and lift your legs up under you and lower yourself. So you walk up to it or get up to it and then lower yourself under control, and then climb back up on the stool and chair and do it again. Now, at first, you might be so weak that you can't even lower all the way down. You might actually have to let go and land back on your feet before you even get all the way down. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay, because you're starting somewhere. But I can promise you, even if you're overweight, even if you're weak, over the course of your journey, if you just practice doing the negative, the eccentric portion of the rep, enough times, and as you continue your weight loss journey and fitness journey and everything else, you will eventually get strong enough to where you can walk up and grab the bar from a dead hang at the bottom and pull yourself up and do a chin-up. Now, how long is it going to take? For one person, it might take a week. For another person, depending on how overweight you are, depending on how weak your arms and back are, it might take you 6 months. But if you're consistent with it, you will eventually get there, because those negatives will make you stronger and they will build the muscles involved. And if you get those muscles strong enough and well enough developed, you will eventually be able to do a chin-up. And eventually you'll be able to do a lot of chin-ups. One day you might be able to do 10 or 15 or 20. But you know, we all start somewhere. Now, your other option is to do bands. Like with any other exercise like this, the chin-up is hardest at the bottom and easiest at the top. That's why for some people, even the lowering, they have to let go or jump to their feet before they get all the way down, because it gets more difficult on the way down. The exercise is harder at the bottom. That's why generally, if you really want to show strength on the chin-up, you start from a dead hang. Because that shows strength, because you can pull yourself from a dead stop at the hardest part of the lift. Now, when you think about a band, bands, if you were to loop a band up around your chin-up bar and put one of your knees through it, so you get up and do chin-ups on a knee, that band, any one of those big thick exercise bands like the green bands, the heavy one, like powerlifter bands, speed work bands. You can find those. They're out there, and a lot of gyms have them. You can use different strength bands to give you more resistance at the bottom, because that band stretches as you go down, right? So at the bottom, the band is going to put more upward force on you. In some cases, it might even do as much as your actual body weight at the very bottom, so that you're almost lifting nothing at all. And then the band, as you go higher up, the band loosens up, loses tension, and it helps you less and less, so that at the top you're taking most of the exercise on the chin up. Now, for some people, if you're not strong enough to do the chin up, the band will let you do basically a strength curve based upon how difficult the exercise is. And depending on your body weight and how strong you are, you can use different thicknesses and tensions of bands to do this. And this can help you also. But again, you need to be careful, because if you're not careful with it, you don't place stuff in the correct manner, a band could slip off, you could fall, it could hit you in the face. Try to be careful, have some common sense when you do these things, think these things through. And you can do bands to basically do accommodating resistance, is what it's called, where you have an external force that makes an exercise easier at the hardest part and makes you take more of the work at the easier parts, because a strength curve isn't linear on any exercise. So it helps you with the hardest part of the exercise. Now, that will still allow you, just like the negative, to develop strength and muscle to help you eventually get strong enough to do chin-ups. So this is the other method that works. Both of these methods will allow you to do this at a gym, or allow you to do this at home in privacy without using the assist machine. I think both of these work better than the assist machine personally. Without having to own or buy an expensive piece of equipment, or not have to use that piece of equipment at the gym with other people watching. And like I said, you can do it at home yourself with a $30 chin-up bar and a chair, or the chin-up bar, a chair, and a band. A band you're probably going to pay $10 for it. So you could do this at home without feeling embarrassed, without having other people watch you not be strong enough to do a chin-up. You can do it in the privacy of your own home and eventually get strong enough to do chin-ups. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.